Before we start, I would like to heavily suggest something that is related to you wanting to read this VN. If you're new to visual novels, then you should read some before playing Totono, and if you have read several VNs, then you should go play Totono before watching this video. In any case, if you are planning to touch this VN, then just click off the video and go read it. Without a guide. Head in blind. Trust me, your experience is much more important. I don't care about my retention rate, just go read it. In the event that you still want to watch this review without reading it first, then I will try my best to keep it spoiler free. But there will be major spoiler moments that I will designate in certain parts of the video. Now, long as warning done, let's get to it. Life is like a staircase. You just gotta keep climbing. Otherwise, if you start to overthink it, you'll have trouble taking the next step. A hentai protagonist went to the school roof, found a girl trying to communicate with God, about to get spicy with her, then the mood got killed by a girl with a large bat. And a very interesting camera angle. The queen of the school and the MC's childhood friend. Dempa girl then said, "Would you like to be my friend?" Bad girl responded, "No." MC then said, "Aw, why don't you be her friend?" Bad girl replied, "Fine, baka." And so a love triangle. Maybe not the right word. A friendship trio was born. The loner hentai protagonist, man. What the f***? The popular Osana Najimi and the stoic Dempa girl. There's nothing much to say about this MC, to be honest. He's the typical plain protagonist, stays out of other people's attention or notice. Just a normal pleb. I wish I could say that he's literally me, but I don't talk to women as much, so I'm not as lucky as this bastard. However, I do have the same mindset as him, that is believing that I'm not good enough for my love interest. In other words, low self-esteem. The feelings for her and the desire to be closer to her are there, but she might be better off without them. In the MC's case, those feelings are for the childhood friend, Miyuki. The school's idol, basically. Pretty much the opposite of the protagonist in terms of social standing. While Shinichi prefers to stay hidden from others in the dark, figuratively speaking, Miyuki stands in the middle of the spotlight, as the center of attention. As shown in the synopsis, she has a bat, because batting is one of her many talents, as well as acting. Very good acting to the point of being the main lead in their school's drama club. Hell, she even had me fooled, not gonna lie, as she is capable of expressing a variety of emotions. On the other hand, the Dempa girl, Aoi, is emotionless. Well, it is pretty obvious because of her eyes. Those lifeless eyes, man, they stare deep into your goddamn soul.
Look into my eyes.
She has that gamer brain, as in thinking that life is like an arrow game where you can save and load. One of the best things about her, if not the best, is her Dempa mode. You will share this connection with her, and you will love it. Enough said. The shy and timid Kohai, and that one true friend that you can always count on. The wingman, the brother from another mother.
His brother from another mother.
There are other characters who I have not yet mentioned, so go play the damn game to find out more. Main menu usually looks like this and will go into the opening animation if you idle in it for too long. By the way, this menu will not appear immediately. You will undergo a bit of a prologue before getting access to this title screen. Load page gives you 60 save/load slots, and the slots themselves function as both a save that can overwrite or load. There are also delete and lock features, which are interesting approaches but not really necessary. Still, I appreciate the effort. Config page will give you all these stuff. This is stupid. VS never fail to disappoint me with this feature. These three will navigate you to either of these three. Gallery for the CGs, music for the OSTs, and H-scenes Well, the obvious, which I will not share due to spoiler reasons. By the way, this liner notes thing is basically Jazz and Nitro Plus thanking you for the purchase. As for the style of storytelling, it's written in the usual ADV, and the right click will bring out the menu on the right here. Red text will appear as green, while unread will appear as black, which you can change through this option here. Speaking of options, choice prompts will appear like this. In terms of the translation, no grammatical or spelling errors were found. Beautiful. 1-1 and 1-1. I love this playtime. It's full of ones. VNDB on the other hand has 15 hours average. Like a typical visual novel really, it's got bad endings, good endings, and true endings. I know that's a very vague way to put it, but if I say any more, I might tread into spoiler territory. What I can say though is that this game has a lot of choices, relatively speaking. However, not as frustrating as Chaos Head Noah, if not at all. Maybe because of the next section. A perfectly crafted romance story. Actually, I mean, it's in a damn title after all. The VN has brilliant pacing throughout and outstanding storytelling, backed up by very memorable voice acting. Character interactions are well suited all over, though there were some moments that may seem contradicting, but eventually they made sense in the end. Plus, these contradictions don't even make an impact, and they're not really noticeable unless you're actively searching for them. What did make an impact are the wholesomeness and the humor that are very distinctive. Some moments are just too adorable that you can't help but smile. Character growth is also something that you can relate to. Nothing deep actually, but it has that personal effect because of how immersive the story is. Of course, the immersion can vary between different people whom have different experiences and different preferences, which is why I will proceed to the next section. Now, this section may seem redundant to you, but I find it to be necessary.
It's necessary.
Don't spoil a guide, at least for your first playthrough. In fact, I think that one playthrough is more than enough to experience this story. I won't stop you if you're a completionist, and I think that you may need a guide to explore everything the game has to offer, but I genuinely believe that you should leave this VN unfinished. I'll admit, I did go out of my way to find everything that I could in a short time span, but I did that so you shouldn't have to. One other thing that I would like to mention again is that before you start reading this story, make sure you have other VNs under your belt that don't have linear plots, as in you can choose different routes with different girls, such as Aokana, Byakko, hell, even Chaos Head Noah is fine. Shameless plug, I know. Links are down below, by the way. Jokes aside, this is why I've said that the immersion can vary. It depends on your experience with VNs, and if you have decided to read it, just YOLO yourself in. I asked the community before I first went in, I followed their advice, and it was the best decision I've made in my visual novel experience. There's a reason why all of them suggested to go in blind. A reason why I told you about this in the beginning of the video. Now, if you're still here and want to continue, then head to the timestamp above for the hit scenes because the next section will contain major spoilers. So please skip ahead if you haven't read Totono. Surprise, surprise, I don't dislike anything in this VN, to be honest. Well, there is one part I was wondering, the scene at the end where you have to put in numbers and resurrect Aoi. That scene was surprisingly long, and I say that because what was Miyuki doing? Where was she? I don't understand why she took so long to chase Shinichi. It's one plot hole I'm interested to know answered. Or maybe it's just plot armor, I can't say. Whoever can explain to me, please do so in my Discord server with spoiler text, linked down below as well. Another self-advert, yay. I would also say that the music, while most did enhance the experience, some didn't stick. And these were the tracks that occurred during the disturbing, mind-blowing moments. Not all of it, but some. I think the reason behind that was because I was too immersed in the game. I don't know how to say it. Maybe something like the immersion was so strong that it backfired, overshadowing the music. Probably a bit imbalanced, but personally, I don't see it having an impact on my overall experience. This is because the self-insert is just so goddamn good, with me being hyped up through most of the climactic scenes. The immersion, the plot twists, the plot itself, the fucking fourth wall moments. nearly everything is perfect. I would say that the mentioning you, the player part, was a bit overly done in some scenes, which is why I've said that the immersion was slightly too strong. Besides that, people tend to compare Totono with DDLC, which I have read since I referenced it in my channel. Now I've had my fair share of the ends. Get the fuck out of here. It reminded me of my time playing DDLC, and yes, at the end. No, not you. You. To the point that it gave me a bit of trauma, so I'm not touching that shit ever again. And if you ask me, Totono is already better than DDLC because it has sex, which we will talk about later. But first, let's discuss on Best Girl, which I was asked about. I would like to first point out that I feel bad for both. Like, their actions are justifiable. Aoi did the NTR because of her nature as an FMC that has the mindset of a completionist, which is to explore every single route that is offered in a story, which means fucking each chosen guy in each route. In other words, it's an ultimate game. I'm not too sure, but I think the game does challenge your double standard here. To be fair though, ultimate games are marketed towards women whom have a different perspective. Miyuki, on the other hand, did what she did and caused that loop because of what you did due to your jealousy. You legit made her to be like that. And she literally cannot feel any love for anyone else besides you. Due to the progression of the plot, when you chose Aoi over her, after choosing her first, you can't blame Miyuki's reaction. Imagine, being a couple in love, got married, experienced happiness for some time, then you found out that your partner is cheating on you. That's basically Miyuki. She felt betrayed, and understandably so. Both waifus are the result of your actions. On one side, you get cucked, and on the other, you get smashed in the balls, man. So either way, you're fucked. Literally. Therefore, you gotta choose the lesser between two evils. And as wise men once said, don't stick your dick in crazy. So, naturally, the best girl is Aoi. Miyuki's ending was nice and all, but Aoi's was much more suited to the story and hit more in the feels. I actually cried during her ending, not gonna lie. Still, I will give props to Miyuki for having 3 kinds of dere in one character, that is tsundere, dere, and yandere, which is pretty remarkable of itself. But alas, kudere personality reigns supreme over all of them. And despite Aoi having the NTR route whether you like it or not, she is best girl. Because you were the one who shaped her, the one who showed her happiness as Shinichi, and the one who showed her curiosity as a reader that explores different routes in a visual novel. If you are a heroine that is a part of many routes, what you actually are is just another character in a list to complete. Perhaps that's why Shinichi forgave her in the true end, and that's why she is best girl. Actually no, she's best girl because Miyuki has bigger breasts though. Which leads us to if you're a horny bonker or just don't like fan service in general, this BN will change your mindset. It cannot exist without the hit scenes, or at least won't have the same impact, even if it did. I'm being genuinely serious here. The sex in this story is very impactful. It doesn't matter if you want to relieve yourself to them or not. What matters is that you should read them, for the sake of the plot, your experience, and the waifus. And if you are interested to beat your meat, you have varying options. Missionary, cowgirl, BJ, paisery, cosplay, and backdoor. Now, let's wrap up. What I will say about Totono is that it's a masterpiece. Of course, a typical visual novel lets you choose your story. But here in Totono, the result of your choice will be much more prominent. A story that adapts to your decisions and either rewards you or punishes you for it. Whatever the case, you must face the consequences of your actions. You reap what you sow. This VN is the gift that gives on giving. You might find new stuff, even if you thought you already completed it, which might surprise you, as it did surprise me. With that, the Degen score is a 9.5. Totono broke so much stuff that it even broke my 6 to 9 rating barrier. I'm not even mad. It deserves it. Anyway, that's all from me. Hope you guys can like and subscribe if the content is degenerate enough, as always. Later, gens.
僕は花歌君の周り